Alright guys, in this video I've got my friend Carlo. He is from Australia and he is on his way to retirement here in the Philippines. Stick around for his story. Alright Carlo, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. And we just had a pretty decent lunch, I would say.
It was pretty good. Yeah, no, it was good. Good Italian food.
Yeah. And when did you first set your eyes on the Philippines? I mean, how did that come about for you?
That's a long time ago. It's I was running a business in Australia, and one of the businesses we started was a cleaning company.
Okay.
For rental properties. In Australia, it's legislated by law. You've got to get your property cleaned.
Okay.
Have a certificate, which ensures that the next tenant is getting a clean environment, clean apartment or townhouse or whatever. And the cleaning business required inbound call centre.
Okay.
Costs in Australia, the wages are quite high.
Right.
And just through the grapevine, I went to a couple of seminars and they talked about call centres.
Oh, okay.
One of the guys was running a call centre touring business where he would bring you to the Philippines and show you what was possible.
Right.
So I thought, why not? Came here, was blown away. The people, English, obviously, is even though it's a secondary language, it's a first language.
Right.
So
first for the business.
For the businesses, and Filipinos speak English, and clear English, so that you haven't got the accents, you haven't got all the
Indian accents.
I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to sound racist, but you don't have the Indian accent, which unfortunately Indians are great as long as they're in back of house.
Right.
They're not dealing with the bubbly, you know. So did that. We set up a call centre there in the Philippines, and boomed. It just boomed. So met. That was back in 2012, 13. So I ran that for about 5 years. Then 2020 came back. Was going backwards and forwards to Australia. Got stuck in Australia for the COVID. So, but I've always wanted to come back. So that's my story with having learned about the Philippines and lived here for I think it was 4.5, 5 years. But it was good. I enjoyed it. It was fantastic.
You're currently 66, retirement age
67 in Australia.
67 in Australia. So
working towards that, working towards getting all my assets, all my everything that I have to do, dispose of everything, and come and settle here. Which I know a little bit. Do I know everything? No. But I'm aware of what I'm getting myself into, I suppose.
How many trips to the Philippines before you said, you know what, I think this could be a retirement place?
Half a dozen. I've been here, even when I ran the call centre, I was living here full time, but I was travelling always between here and Australia every 4 or 5 months, because all our clientele was Australian.
Right.
So therefore, it was going backwards and forwards. In the last probably 3-4 years that I met my partner, every 4 or 5 months, coming to the Philippines for at least 4 to 5 weeks. Last trip was in September.
Right.
Now I'm back here now. So yeah, look, I've travelled around a lot of the Philippines. I've travelled in most places. Well, when I say most places, I've travelled to various areas in various islands, provinces and cities. That's why I like Dumaguete here. It gives me a bit of options. Valencia is at the top of the list at the moment, at this point in time.
Because you've been to, I know you said you've been to Luzon.
Yeah.
You lived out there for a little bit.
Yeah, lived there for about 4 years, 4.5 years.
And your girl is from the Davao region.
Yeah.
And then Dumaguete, and this is the region you like.
I like it. I like
the city.
Yeah, I don't want to get, I suppose, too caught up with too many foreigners. We all have an agenda. We all have, I suppose, our own views on things. But I like it because of the foreign influence. I can maintain a Western lifestyle as such.
Right.
A lot of the smaller cities in the provinces, there's a little bit of a gap.
Right.
I want to have the best of both worlds, I suppose. Yeah, it's my choice, I suppose, at this point in time. So Dumaguete is ticking a lot of the boxes. I've only been here 3 times, but even my partner, who's from Mindanao, she loves it here.
She likes it as well.
Yeah, she likes it. She likes the environment. She likes the way things are, and she likes the flexibility, I suppose.
Yeah, that's the thing is you almost need a place that does have a lot of foreigners because you can get the Western type amenities, Western goods, and more accommodations.
Correct. Yeah, and you've got that you know, you can go to the restaurants. Obviously, I don't want to eat at home every time, but and to find the flexibility, and I suppose as we were talking before, there's delicatessens or there's shops that cater for if you want to have an Australian steak or an American steak, you can go there and buy it. If you want to buy some real Italian salami or prosciutto or whatever, you can buy it. And that's what I've seen that here. It was great.
Yes.
Davao has similar things. Davao has numerous Italian restaurants and delicatessens. I think it's the Swiss. There's one there that's called Swiss something or other. But magnificent, fully imported Italian mozzarella.
Wow.
So and you mentioned quite a few places here have Italians, expats who have got restaurants, who you can have authentic Italian food, and that's what I'm looking for. I am Italian Australian, that's it.
So I know probably in reality the majority of us expats, we do like some Filipino food, but the majority of us,
we've grown up with it, with our whether it's American or Italian or English or whatever, and it's quite interesting. On my first trip here, or second trip, and went to one of the coffee places here, Ground Zero, and I struck up a friendship with an Italian from Chile, Peru, an Australian from Sydney, an Australian from Perth.
Mutual friend.
Mutual friend Carlo there, and I thought this is cool. I like it. It's just I suppose having that little bit of expats influence and having be able to communicate, we can comfort each other in so many ways.
Sure.
So that we're not alone, and we can fall back on each other's experiences and say, hey, this is what you need to do, or this is the circumstances. And I think we all need that. We all need that little bit of support, as long as it's maintained in a proper perspective.
How much preparation have you done for retirement or for the move out here? Like how have you already sold the house?
Yeah, everything's been disposed of. I was going to move, moving from Melbourne anyway. Just the climate in Melbourne, it takes its toll. I want to maintain my health. And Melbourne, it does get cold. Melbourne, you have, even in, like at the moment, it's spring, and you could have a 10-degree day with wind, chill factor, all the other bits and pieces, and it's cold. But you can also have a sunny day, and all of a sudden it's windy and cold in the afternoon. So Melbourne is very, very unstable when it comes to climate. Summertime, it's very, very hot, mid-30s. But it's a fluctuation between summer, winter, spring, autumn, and I love the weather in the Philippines. To me, mid-30s or 30-degree days, the humidity doesn't affect me, and I actually love it. So I can do that as long as air conditioning on stinking hot days. But the fan is more than sufficient. A ceiling fan is great. So in my preparation for all of the physical side, I've done most of it. I've ticked the boxes. Even whilst I was living here, I have gained more knowledge in the last 2 or 3 years, following, which I didn't know existed, bloggers. And there's probably 3 or 4 that I follow religiously. I think it's part of me, even when I'm living back in Australia at the moment, just following you guys and just giving me a different insight. And every time you watch a video, you learn something. So the ticking the boxes for preparing to actually move is important, and if you don't do that, you are going to come unstuck, and it's not going to hurt financially, only financially. It's going to be emotional. It's going to be all those things coming into play. It's a big move.
And I think importantly, you were prepared, and you took several trips out here before you even decided. Many trips.
As I said, even though I travelled in the Philippines and lived here, coming to Dumaguete is a change. Even changing provinces or changing islands, you've got to really see things like brownouts. It's unheard of in Australia. If you get notification, if they don't notify you that they're going to possibly turn the power off because of maintenance, there's massive fines for them.
Right.
So we don't experience all these things, Wi-Fi, telephone coverage, all those sort of things. Is if you rely on that, you've got to do your homework. Every city is different. Every city has its own little idiosyncrasies.
Is there anything about the Philippines that bothers you, that you'll be here, but and you enjoy it for the most part, but there's some things that drive you crazy? Anything?
I can honestly tell you no. My biggest concern was health, and I know I hear it from a lot of Westerners and medical profession. I've spoken to a lot of doctors and stuff because of my health, with my bypass and that sort of thing that I had. But yeah, from here you go to Cebu, excellent medical facilities. From here, I think there's 5 flights to Manila every day. So worst case scenario, you fly to Manila, which is about an hour and a half, and you've got probably one of the best hospitals in the top 10% in the world. It's in Makati, it's whatever, St. Luke's or whatever.
St. Luke's, and
that's right. So that is a big tick. So anybody that feels that, you don't have to go back to Australia, even though if it's life-threatening, you probably think about it. But if you go to one of those hospitals again, you can't rely on the health system like you do in Australia, which is free. You've got to have backup, and I've heard you mention it many, many times. Have insurance, or have X amount of pesos or dollars under the mattress to take care of those things. So, look, it's a different way of life. It's a different culture. And if you come with a mindset, hey, it's not like Australia, well, you know what, my friend, stay in Australia. If it
was exactly like Australia, there'd be no reason to move.
That's right. I'm moving because I want this comfort of lifestyle, the weather, the culture, and it does suit me. I'm Italian Australian, and the culture here is very comforting, I suppose.
We were talking about it earlier. You find yourself a lot less stressed. You feel more relaxed here in the Philippines.
Totally, 100%. I don't have to worry about every day. Look, Australia, Western countries, doesn't matter. America, Europe. We fundamentally focus on, I suppose, 2 things, maybe a third: work and live. But our lifestyle is based around work. Our lifestyle is based, especially in my case, running my own businesses and that sort of thing. It was always focused on that. Here, I am not running away from that. I've experienced it all. I've done it all. But I just want, if I want to go watch a waterfall, or go look at a waterfall, or go look at some country drive, and that's what my partner, that's her focus. And she's been to Australia, and her biggest thing is, I love Australia, I like it, but you guys don't enjoy your life. And I think it's true.
Much more social here too.
Totally agree. It's a more social lifestyle. But as I said, I want to just enjoy my life and relax, and this is very, very conducive to that lifestyle.
I think that's a misconception. They think most Filipinos want to get citizenship in another country, but I think the majority honestly prefer just to stay here.
Look, I see I've got a lot of friends, Filipino friends, and through my partner's family and stuff. They all go overseas, and it was interesting. We were talking about that a few days ago. They go overseas for 4 years. First year to pay off the expenses, the next 2 years to save, and the last year is to build up the expenses, pay for the expenses for the next trip. But after all that, 1 stint, 2 stints, or whatever cycles, they want to come back here and live.
They do.
And that's unbelievable. When you ask them, well, you've just been to the Middle East, or you've been to Australia, or you've been to America, why do you want to go back? Every one of them will say, yeah, I want to go back. It's a life. It's a way of life, and I can see why.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll end it with this. Will there be anything from Australia that you'll be like, jeez, I really missed that?
Oh, my family, my daughter, my son, my sisters, brothers. I'll miss that part of it, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to travel. And the thing is this, even if you lived in Sydney, you know, which is only an hour and a half's flight, you're still not going to see them every day. You're not going to catch up.
Right.
The family has grown. The family has expanded. So
they all have their own family.
They've got their own lives. They've got their own family. So I don't think it's that bad. It's only an hour. Well, I shouldn't say only, but it's an 8-hour direct flight from Manila to Melbourne.
So much better than the US.
Well, yeah, you got to travel 15, 16 hours or some ridiculous time frame, and by the time you put in your layovers and whatever, what 20-hour trip is about average, is it?
It's I would say it's a full day.
Yeah.
One full day,
it's a long,
24 hours.
It's a long way.
It is.
It is
for sure. All right. Well, thank you, Carlo. I appreciate you being on the channel.
No, my pleasure. Thank you, Gio.
Right.
All the best.
Take care.